Hey guys, welcome back to the Hat House. Today's video is going to be a banger only edition. Every hat in here went for around the $20 mark or more. I had an awesome sale of a $160 hat. You'll want to check that out. And then how do we ship a hat like that? We're going to go through that in this video. Also, I do want to tease you guys just a little bit on an upcoming video and how Whatnot lied to me. I'm going to be bringing out that video soon. It's going to be a little bit shorter, but I want to take you through exactly what happened in our two Whatnot shows and what Whatnot promised me was going to happen and what actually ended up happening. But today, stick around for all the great sales. There's going to be some awesome ones that you want to be on the lookout for. So let's get to the garage. All right, so behind me, if you didn't check out our unboxing live, we had a lot of great hats that came in. I got to get all those cleaned up today, but I'm going to go ahead and do the shipping. We got to get it out of the way for the day. First up on our big sales, this was about $156. We had a nice combined order. It's going international as well. We had a Polo Bear beanie. We had another polo hat, Winnie the Pooh hat. We had a Carhartt hat. We had a Levi's hat. We had, this was just Life is Good, had a snowboarder on it. And we had a Mickey Mouse hat. All those going out, one combined order. Great sale, $156. All right, next up was this Charlie Brown hat. Really cool, said Chuck on it, had Charlie Brown. Went out for $38, vintage Charlie Brown. The tag that it had on it just had made in China, but definitely a vintage hat. Really cool. Somebody will really like this one. Nice colorway with the green too. Then another great sale. This one's going out for $35. This was San Francisco Giants vintage diamond collection, size 7.5. Was in great condition, really clean. I spent some time cleaning this one up too. It was pretty dusty, but really awesome diamond collection hat. $35, pretty good price, going international, so they paid quite a bit in shipping, so good sale. And then next up was Stormy Cromer, went out for $25, nice wool, Stormy Cromer, 7.5, really good brand. If you ever look these up, always sell between 20 and 30. Some of them are even more desirable if you get good prints or colors. This one was just gray. Great hat to be on the lookout for right here. Next, we had a vintage Seattle Supersonics. This one went out for $23. It was on the competitor view. Definitely late 90s. Seattle Supersonics. Great team to be on the lookout for. And it kind of had the blockhead on the back too a little bit. Wasn't the big one, but kind of smaller spell out. Next up was this really nice trucker hat. Had a big patch on it. Had the scrambled eggs, the Leafs on it. This was actually in our bulk buy from eBay on how to source hats from eBay, flip them back onto eBay. This one sold for about $23. We paid about $3 a hat on that sale. So this was really good, about $20 profit. Just sourcing hats from eBay, flipping them back to eBay. And this was a really nice trucker hat right here. Next up was this Abercrombie and Finch. And I put this one in here just because you need to be on the lookout for these ones. Whether they are naturally distressed like this. I think this is natural. It's hard to tell. It does have some writing on the bottom, but especially the preppy brands, Abercrombie and Finch, Vineyard Vines, some of the preppy type brands that are distressed like this. This one went for about 20 bucks, and it had the leather strap back. They're going to go for a little bit more than usual regular dad hats, especially if the distressing is really good on them. So make sure you price those up. My love-hate with conductor hats continues. This one went for $23. It was really cool though. It had a cool pin on the side with the train and it had a cool little iron spike on it. So it went for $23. Didn't have a size, but I tried it on and I got the size close as I can. So I'm pretty confident in the size I put on it. And $23 is a good sales price for these. So they can go anywhere from 10 to 25. So I'm happy for 23. Next up was a vintage Texas Longhorns, went for $31. Had the nice burnt orange on it. It was pro model, size 7.25, made in USA. Always got to get as much as you possibly can from those Texas fans. $31 is a great sales price on this set. Next up was a Poshmark sale, 2 gun hats. We had a Glock hat. This one was really cool, vintage Glock hat. It was on the paper tag, probably 90-ish. And then just this SIG hat. This was just kind of a generic SIG hat. Nothing really special about it. $35. The Glock hat was the bulk of this sale right here. This is probably a $15 SIG hat. I would say a $20 to $30 Glock hat. And I kind of just threw in the SIG because I was ready to move it and it wasn't anything special. All right, first one is going to be this Florida Gators Nike hat. Went out for about 20 bucks. It was really nice, lightweight. The NCAA college Nike hats can go for 20 bucks, and especially these lightweight ones, they're hard to find sometimes. People will price them down at $10, but the right buyer will buy this for $20. Good sale here. All right, next up was this Arizona Cardinals. It was Apex One, good vintage brand of hat. I actually bought this one on Whatnot for around $10, flipped it to $30 plus shipping. Great sale right here. Had several offers on this hat in the $20 range, and then finally came up to my $30 price point, and probably could go for a little more, but I took the $30. All right, next up was a great Notre Dame Fighting Irish hat. This one went out for $45. Awesome vintage sports hat right here. I've sold the USC one for around $50 as well. This one has a nice big Notre Dame wrap around it, made by Twins Enterprise. Super clean inside. Great hat to be on the lookout for right here, $45. Then we had a nice Arc'teryx hat. This one went out for $24. Super clean on the inside. Was small, medium sizing, but nice lightweight Arc'teryx hat. 20 to 35. Anywhere in between there, just depending on how long you want to wait. I took the 25. Then we had a nice combined order. This was a Coke Dad hat, a North Face hat, and a Nike hat. These all went out for $36 with shipping on top. Then we had a nice combined order. This was a Coke Dad hat, a North Face hat, and a Nike hat. These all went out for $36 with shipping on top. Next up was this Turntable Labs. It was an Ebbets Field flannel. I found it on one of their websites. They were selling these. I think they were out of stock on this one. Went out for $20 international. It wasn't the like actual flannel that you get with Ebbets Field flannel sometimes. The kind of felt. But this one was cotton, but still good price. $20 on this one. All right, next up was this Sports Specialties Green Bay. Went out for $23. Pretty good condition. It's clean. Here's the Sports Specialties tag. It was a little bit newer. Not the most desirable model right here. Had the Sports Specialties on the side, snapback. Had the Pro line on the back, but still, these are really just $25 to $30 hats typically. Next up was this great Carhartt hat. Went out for $28. It was the winter style. And I should have just I sold some off early, like in September for less than $20. And I should have held them till December and January because they're selling now for the good price, $28. Really happy with this sale. Next up is all about keywords. This is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers creamsicle color hat. So I really believe the good size helped. This one went out for $31, but also it's just kind of an alternate color, and you just got to know those on the team sometimes. This is the creamsicle Tampa Bay orange color, and it's really collectible. It's kind of their vintage looking color. Great hat right here for $30. Next up is a vintage KM Forest products. It was on the K products tag. Really nice patch, denim look. Went out for $20. It was missing the foam. It's one of them that I had cleaned out. $20 is a great price for that one. Next up was the Seattle Mariners, and it had this cool alternate logo on it as well. Just a fitted $59.50. Had the side hit. Went out for $20. 7 3/8 alt logo. Nice Mariners hat. Next up was this Real Madrid soccer hat. Soccer hats do pretty well most of the time. If you keep them priced up, they will sell, especially if you have kind of a unique one like this red heather. It went for $23. Great sale on a hat right here. Next up was a great vintage hat right here. It was a Yellowstone National Parks. Had a nice patch on it. This went out for $23. Super clean, vintage trucker hat. Really nice. $23 is a great sales price on this one. All right, going out on Depop, we had some really good sales on Depop. This Vespa, this vintage, this is probably like 60s or 70s. I'm gonna go with 70s. Vespa Piaggio. And I think, didn't we figure out this was a scooter?
Yes.
Is that right? So a scooter on this kind of felt hat. It went out for how much? $42. Great price on this panel. Old 70s hat. Really good hat right here. Then we also had a Porsche hat that went out on Depop. Went out for $25. Nice Porsche. Clean. Nice little logo on it. Strap back dad hat. Then we had this Camaro Z28. Nice patch hat. It went out for like $21 on Depop as well. The foam in it was still good. Had a nice patch on it. Nice trucker hat here. And then this Amico hat also went out on Depop for like $23. Nice, had the scrambled eggs and the patch. Foam was still great, and it was K Products, so nice little vintage trucker hat here, $23 on the Depop. All right, one more great sale today. This Star Wars Tour hat went out. It was in great condition, still had the original tag on it. Had what looked like a little bit of rust on here. A lot of them were priced around $100. I went ahead and took $70, $75 for this one. Really great hat, nice collectible. It's in beautiful condition. Has a little bit of flaw, still had the price tag on the bottom of it. So really cool hat, great sale, $70. All right, this one went out for $23. It's a vintage Mopar, had the nice embroidery on it. It was made on the Made in USA snap with the paper tag, so probably 80s. Still had great shape on it. Nice Mopar hat, $23. Next up was another great trucker sale. This was a vintage Texaco. It was on the K Products snap. Really good vintage hat right here. Nice patch on it, $25. Great sales price, great hat. All right, next up was a really collectible hat. This is a WWF. Some of these hats go for like $80. I think they still have the foam in them. The ones that go for like 80 to 100. And I think there's another brand that made them as well. Mine was missing the foam, so I took like $45. It was still made in USA. It was vintage. $45, great sales price. Always be on the lookout for the WWF wrestling merchandise, especially vintage. Does awesome. All right, next up was this stance. It went out for like 20 bucks. It really good 5-panel lightweight hat. It was like new condition. The 5-panel hats always do really well. Not exactly sure what this company is. If you know what it is, let me know down in the comments. All right, this was a vintage WGN radio 720 hat. It went out for $23. I've seen a lot of them, a lot of hats like this. People will price for like 10 bucks, but I priced this one up. I thought it would be really collectible, and that's where you got to look at it on hats sometimes, is what the collectability on the hat is, how old it is. And this went out for $23. Great price for a nice collectible radio hat. All right, next up might be our best sale of the year. Somebody always asks me what's the highest price hat you've ever sold. This one went out for almost $200. They got the coupon, so I guess that took it down to around $160. There's a 20% coupon in my store, so still really great sales price. This is like a Kanye West, The Graduation. I guess that was one of his albums, but it had this awesome embroidery all around it with these cartoon characters. I'm not even exactly sure who they are. The only reason that I found a similar comp was it sold on StockX for around $300, but the one on StockX still had the sticker on it and looked like new condition. Mine was still in really awesome condition. It was super clean. And I think it's in one of our unboxing videos. I had no idea it would be a $200 hat at the time, but really great sale right here. Really helped out our Christmas. I do get the question occasionally on how I ship the expensive hats, like this one that we just sold for like $160. The only difference that I'm going to do is I'll tape this box up and then I'll put it in a poly bag. There you go. That's the only real difference. I just make sure, in case it does happen to run into any weather or get wet, that it's protected. But then I also sent this one priority. I paid a few more dollars to get it sent out priority instead of the regular ground. But nothing too special. But this is the fastest way I've come across. Just throw it into a poly bag and then tape it up and it's good to go. Which makes more sense to me than putting the hat in a poly bag in this situation, because if you put the hat in a poly bag and then put it into the box, it actually kind of smashes it up a little bit and has more of a chance to do damage, I guess, unless you had a really big box. But the size boxes I have, I don't want to kind of cram anything else into the box because it just fits it perfectly anyways. So next up was a Nautica winter fleece hat. It went for $20. It was kind of like the trapper hat, had the nice ear flaps on it, and it was Nautica fleece. Really good hat for $20. That's a good sales price on these. Next up was another Napoleon Dynamite hat. These are doing really well for some reason. You might keep on the lookout out there. This one for $20. It also had the tags on it. Happy Hands Club, Napoleon Dynamite. Cool early 2000s hat right here. Went out on Macari. All right, next we had another great sports hat. This one was actually Reebok, sold for $34. Pretty high sales price for a Reebok, but it was the Pro Line snapback and it was white. So really pleased with this hat sale. You can tell it's vintage by this old Reebok tag right here. Really good price, $34. All right, next up, I just had a really good feeling about this one when I priced it. I priced it close to $100. It sold for $80. Vintage Starbucks hat. Had the nice suede bill, nice Starbucks spell out on the front. You can tell that it's a vintage hat. It was made in Taiwan on this Stars Pacific tag. Really cool kind of felt hat. $80, great sales price, awesome hat. And there was, all the comps on Starbucks hats were $10 to $20, and just kind of had a good feeling that this one would sell for closer to the $100 mark. Somebody would like some Starbucks memorabilia, and they got it right here. Next up was Cleveland Indians, Chief Wahoo, $20. Always say to be on the lookout for this one. It was actually Puma. It was older. I don't think it was vintage, but probably early 2000s. Really beautiful shape though, like new kind of dead stock Cleveland Indians. Next up was this fishing hat, and the brand I kind of look out for more than I would Patagonia. This is Simms. This one went out for like $27. Sorry, this one went out for like $23. Really cool trucker foam mesh Simms. And on the basic hats, Simms really sell better than Patagonia. Patagonia has a higher top end if you find like a vintage or some really cool fishing hats, but just basic hats, Simms usually sells for more, and is a really great fishing brand. There's the tag you want to be on the lookout for. And another great fishing hat. This one is the one that went for $27. Nice panel, big neck flap on it. Really nice shape. This one was just Columbia. It was even newer, but it was in great shape. Went out for $28. Don't ever pass these fishing hats up. They can do really well. And I'll go ahead and throw this one in there. It went for like $19.90, but it is Hawaii. And Hawaii always sells really well. University of Hawaii, Rainbow Warriors, I think it is. This was just by the game. It was a little older, probably not vintage, but probably close to 2000, 2005-ish. Hawaii always sells really well, and you can get some good money for Hawaii hats if you find the real colorful ones, but $20 on this one. Next up was this Black Clover. They do really well, really collectible. This one, of course, had the Hawaiian flowers all over print. It went for $19 as well. Really cool hat. Always keep a lookout for the Black Clover. Of course, the better the print, the higher the sales price usually. All right, guys, is that a cool shot right there or what? Maybe I should have that as my background all the time. We just got done cleaning up all the hats. I got them sorted. We're gonna run some on Whatnot next couple of days. But going out right now is this really cool Seattle Mariners hat. Really cool gray fitted 5950 Seattle Mariners. I waited on this too. So a lot of people offered me like $10 for it. And I was like, man, this is cool. You're not gonna find that color anywhere else. It's gonna be hard to track down your size. So I held on until I got my $20. Next up was another beautiful fitted hat. This was Atlanta Braves. Went out for $25. It was on this white tag, and this is closer to early 2000s. It's still, I believe, vintage. This one was all wool. Still had great shape on it. Atlanta Braves always sells really well. $25 for this one. Next up with this Harley leather hat. Went out for $23. This one was actually made by American Needle. And it was snapback Harley leather hat. Great hat right here, $23. Next up was this Los Angeles Dodgers hat. This is just knowing the market. It was a rope 47 brand lightweight hat on the Dodgers. $36 for this hat. A really great price for a used 47 brand, but it had a lot of things going for it. One, it was the Dodgers, which always sells really well and is gonna do even better. Two, it was a rope hat. Three, it was white and it was still clean. And then four, it was lightweight. So all those things really going for it, and it had a patch on it. So this is a really cool hat in demand. Next up was the game hat, and this is a really cool and desirable. It's just called the Circle logo, and people look for it a lot of times. They do better on the snapbacks. This one took forever to sell at $21. It's sold on Depop, but just mainly because it was fitted. It's definitely vintage, made in Korea. Definitely a vintage Circle the Game logo hat, but just took a long time to sell because it was fitted.